All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Just want to respond to Andrew Wilson's clipped video from our debate the other week. Just everything is false about the way he titled the video, the thumbnail, the caption, and his rhetoric. I can't believe he thinks he won this part of the debate where he had to lie, a lie he told numerous times. We're going to review how it was a lie. But it was never said that I can predict anything, so there's just false advertising right off the top. And then the next part that's a lie is Andrew loses his patience with spurgy numerologists. Again, in the beginning I said I do not identify as a numerologist. I'm simply exposing what the Cabal does. Again, within Kabbalah, there's something called Gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words, which is used every single day by our federal government, and I'll prove that with the top headline today, March 13th, 2025, the anniversary of us getting the first Jesuit Pope. Top headline today is the federal judge, who's making the Trump administration reinstate jobs after The Apprentice fired a bunch of people. And the latest joke by the numbers. You'd never believe that the judge's name equals 72 on the 72nd day of the year, just like Jesuit order. And again, that's what our conversation was about, how this knowledge can be used to see through the puppet show that is our corrupt federal government, who is controlling the puppet show, and why they do it Kabbalistically. It's a belief about how God operates, and these people are playing God over humanity. So, again, Andrew has this clip here saying that I lied about the recommended jab schedule being 72 shots by the time you're 18. Again, I knew this fact off the top of my head. I asked him in the thing if he'd watched the hearing with RFK Jr. when he was going through his confirmation process, because they brought this same schedule up numerous times. And I talked about why his confirmation process began on the year of the snake, when on July 2nd of last year, 7-2, he put out a video titled RFK Jr. the Snake, and not arbitrarily, because this 72 number is very special. Something I meant to bring up in the debate, it's hard when you're getting interrupted every 5 seconds, is that even Sesame Street started promoting jabs to children in the year 1972. But yeah, just listen to Andrew right here claim that I lied about the jab schedule being 72. And again, if anyone thought he won a point throughout the entire debate, this might have been the closest he came to winning a point, but he didn't. He had to lie to seemingly win the point in the moment.
I'm using logic. Does logic upset you?
You're not real strong in logic, Andrew.
Well, I've been logically destroying you all night. But
just the fact that he didn't say that. I mean, somebody go back and watch the whole debate and show one point that he destroyed on. He showed that he didn't know anything about his own spirituality. He showed that he had no listening skills. Like I'm talking about Queen, We Are the Champions, and why Trump came out to the song synced with Queen Elizabeth, and he goes, did you know that there's a band Queen too? It's like, dude, I'm talking about why he came out to Queen, We Are the Champions, synced with the Queen. So I mean, just all night, no focus, no listening skills, nothing but just snide comments. And then here he's about to lie about the vaccine schedule. Here we go.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah, the guy who came up with the vaccines, or that 72, was it 72? 72 doses? Was it 72 doses? Didn't basically fact check anything, gave me unrelated facts, haven't given me a single justification for why I use the Bibles. Now, back to the specific prediction. I'm not going to let you weasel out of it.
So if you didn't watch the debate, he found some website that said it's only 60, and it was just some obscure website, not some mainstream source. Anyone can verify that the recommended jab schedule is 72 shots by the time you're 18. And again, understanding why 72 is important. It's a very special number in Kabbalah. There's 72 names of God in Kabbalah. Again, my whole argument is that the Cabal uses Kabbalah, where Gematria comes from, to form the rituals that have an impact on our lives. He wanted to downplay this point, but he had no real argument against it other than simply, laughing or, okay, well, here, then predict something. And it's like, dude, we have 1 million correct predictions, probably more than anybody else who's ever graced the internet. And again, doesn't even need to be made to show how relevant the knowledge is to understand what's going on. And yeah, anyone can verify that, yes, Sesame Street did begin promoting jabs to children in 1972. Not arbitrarily. It's not an arbitrary number. Again, 72 demons in the Goetia. 72 demons in the Goetia, 72 names of God in Kabbalah. Jesus sends out the 72 surveyors. Again, the Jesuit order is all about this 72 number, which is why you got the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. Pope Francis, on this day 12 years ago, March 13, 2013. And not to mention the Jesuits were created in Paris, which also has a gematria 72 like Jesuit order. But yeah, again, here's the headline today. The judge who ordered Trump on the 72nd day of the year to reinstate jobs after the firings by The Apprentice is William Haskell Alsop, whose name is 72, just like President Trump, who's Jesuit educated, is 72. He was appointed this judge by Bill Clinton, who's Jesuit educated, not to mention Jesuit equals 42, like Georgetown, which is where Clinton went to school. And again, just look at the overlap with your fired and Jesuit order, just for the record. The 144.54, just like Jesuit order. Again, all of these numbers are big with the Jesuits. 126 and 63, as well as 144 and 54 are big with John Carroll, who founded the first Jesuit university at Georgetown at age 54. Not to mention RFK Jr., who is Mr. 72, was born in 52 and went to Georgetown Prep. But yeah, again, but just totally disingenuous guy. I can predict anything. Where was that said? I said this knowledge can be used to predict a lot of things, as we've demonstrated over the years. Sports, which we crush routinely, the market, crypto, what's coming in the news, whose number's up next in the world of celebrity, all things that have been demonstrated with this knowledge. Show me any other singular knowledge that can be used with that many diversity of purposes. And again, show me anywhere where Andrew Wilson's making any correct predictions about anything. This guy's stumping for the Trump. He's part of the political establishment. He's lost in the sauce, part of the puppet show. And again, meanwhile, we're over here with real knowledge, helping people escape from the matrix of misinformation and lies and understanding who is doing this manipulation. Again, the Jesuits are all about the 72. Again, look into how powerful the Jesuits and the Catholic Church are in the world of medicine, education, government, media. There's a reason the same numbers are everywhere. And again, this came up because of RFK Jr. Notice right now, RFK Jr. is being blamed for a measles outbreak in Lubbock, Texas, which equals 72. Just like how I was telling Andrew, RFK Jr. equals 72. That's how the whole 72 thing came up. Again, year of the snake equals 72. RFK Jr., his testimony began on the day of the year of the snake. And anyone go back to his own channel and see that he put out the video. Here, RFK Jr., the snake, July 2nd. On his own YouTube channel. This is published on July 2nd.
I'm here because I got a call from my dog.
Again, get the publication date here. July 2nd, 7-2. 7-2 as we'd write it in the U.S. But same numbers over and over. And you can see how Year of the Snake is 153 and 72, like Jesuit orders 153 and 72. And of course, he's from the Kennedy family, which is associated with the Kennedy curse, which also has the Jesuit numbers 144 and 54. And remember, his dad died at 1:44 a.m. and his uncle died 144 days from meeting with the Pope on July 2nd, 7-2. So, yeah, again, the problem with Andrew is you cannot get all that out without him interrupting and saying something dumb. And it's like, this isn't how you have a debate. That's why, and it wasn't a real moderator either. And I realized the way she had the settings too. She had his mic turned way up, so anytime we'd both be speaking, he'd be heard over me. And again, she is friends with him, so playing on their field. But I realized that watching back, I was like, wow, his audio settings were turned up over mine, so he could talk over me. But yeah, again, not one single coherent point made by Andrew anywhere in the debate. Anyone who watched it from a neutral stance saw that. They would say, yeah, he didn't really seem like a Christian. He didn't conduct himself like a Christian. He seemed to know nothing about the Bible. The point where I brought up how God regrets making man in Genesis 6:6, what was his response to that? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I go, yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Are you sure? It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm sure. How many times do you need me to ask me the same question? And why are we even asking? If you're supposedly some Christian who knows his Bible, we should just be, the point's made. Okay, I understand why you're saying 6 is significant from the beginning of the Bible to the end, which was the point that was made. I said, listen, in the beginning of the Bible, God's made on the 6th day, In Genesis 6:6, God regrets making mankind. Protestant Bibles are 66 books. You learn about 666, the number of the man, the number of the beast, in the concluding book. And again, the other thing is he just keeps asking the same questions over and over. I explained why we were talking about the Protestant Bible, largely the King James Bible, how the numbers from that Bible are used along with the language and the calendar in this ritualistic system, which was clearly set up by this Jesuit Masonic cabal. And he kept saying, I don't accept that. I don't accept that. It's like, okay, you don't know anything about it. You can not accept it all you want, but if you would study it, you would listen. And then when I lay down the piece about how they're using King James in his history, from what they're doing with Trump to what they're doing with things like LeBron James, and not to mention in the same debate, he argued that LeBron James' nickname wasn't King James. He said, I'm looking here online. His nickname is the Akron Hammer and the L Train. It's like, dude, I don't think anybody's ever heard those nicknames for LeBron. Everybody knows that he's King James. And that's why he won the only finals on the real King James's birthday for the Cavaliers. And again, the problem with dumb people is they are all kind of like Andrew. Again, when I lay down that they had to shorten the NBA season to 66 games, the year that LeBron won his first finals, when LeBron equals 66, so does LeBron James, so does King. Again, the real King James was born in 1566, going with this 66-book Bible. When I'm showing these things about how it shows you that they use this system in length of the Bible, and he's going, that doesn't prove anything. It's like, yeah, I guess if you just want to just say it doesn't prove anything when it's a very concrete example of one of many King James rituals with LeBron, and again, how it intersected in 2016 when LeBron won on the real King James's birthday, and then Trump had his convention in the Cavs stadium right after, again, for the 58th election when King James died at 58. And then again, how in this year's election, it was on the day that the Jesuits tried to assassinate King James after he survives his assassination hoax. See, when you're showing all these facts, and then you just keep going, what would Andrew say when I was doing that debate? He'd go, all of this stuff's unrelated. It's like, how is it unrelated? But again, the unfair moderating too, she'd laugh in the background, and then again, only dopes would watch and be like, yeah, I think it is all unrelated. And sadly, that is the world we live in. We do live in a world of dopes, which is why they're voting for people like the Orange Goon or even a Joe Biden, or still falling for the rigged selections. But that's the hard thing about presenting this information to the world. You're talking to a very dumb group of people, especially in the United States, where the average IQ really is around room temperature. And I'd imagine almost everyone in Andrew Wilson's fan base probably has sub-triple-digit IQs. Again, not smart people at all. And Andrew showed, I mean, he's considered some master debater on the internet, and literally didn't make one winning point anywhere in the debate. Not one winning point that showed that Gematria was bullshit. Again, that was his argument, that Gematria is false. That's what we were talking about. Gematria is false. Gematria is useless. All throughout the night, despite the interruptions, I showed all the ways we've used it over the years to accurately forecast and totally expose a rigged system. Andrew is someone who tries to validate the rigged system and take sides in it. He's a Republican Trump guy. So, anyway, again, disingenuous thumbnail, disingenuous title, because in the debate it was explained that I'm not a numerologist. I don't see myself that way. I don't use numerology in the way like a Gary the Numbers Fraud does. And by the way, if you want to see somebody get owned in this realm, you should go back and find the 2016 back and forth between me and Gary, where he embarrassed himself over and over by continually making false predictions, where I continually made right ones and was proven right week after week, as he would call in every Wednesday, prove himself wrong and prove me right. And that's why Gary doesn't want to debate either, because he knows the history of that. But yeah, again, every day I can be here and defend my points. So for anyone who thinks that Andrew's right and Gematria is false, why is this exactly what happened today on the 72nd day of the year? Why is this the story today? That William Alsup upends Trump by saying you have to reinstate these employees. And again, the Jesuits did give us the calendar and the language. Today is the anniversary of the first Jesuit Pope. They do have a stranglehold over all the things that pretty much dominate this world. And understand, here's another big one. That if you look into the education system we have, it traces back to the Catholic Church. Look at even the word school itself. School, 72. These things are not arbitrary. In school, you learn to follow what authority says. You're in your average school classroom today, you'd be hearing from your teacher, you should just watch the news and get the information there. The things on the internet cannot be reliable. That can be true, that things on the internet can be very unreliable. There's a lot of false information out there, but literally what on TV and the news is true. It is nothing but lies and deception and corporate agendas every single day. It's fascism on full display. Again, schools are indoctrination centers, and there's a reason this number has been encoded through our language, where we use spell to create words, but we also associate it with magic, which again was explained that in Kabbalah there is a dark half of Kabbalah, the Qlippoth, which is about sorcery and spell casting and having influence over others. And again, everyone should know about this, because then they'd be able to prove every single day, as we do, that yes, these is what our government is doing. The same type of rituals every single day. This is the top story right now. Judge orders Trump admin to reinstate thousands of fired employees. And yeah, he was appointed to his federal position by a Jesuit-educated man, Bill Clinton, who again was number 42. 42. Arbitrary that we've come to this point where there's 72 jabs in the schedule, and Sesame Street started promoting jabs to children in 72. Do you really think that's an accident? And just for the record, with the whole 42 thing, Big Bird got the 42. The VACCINE words got the 42. You know, these people do everything culturally appropriate, and they did use Big Bird to promote jabs in 72. Yeah, also, the day that CNN brought attention to this, just for the record, it was 322 days after Ted Cruz's last birthday, and Ted Cruz brought up the Sesame Street thing. Ted Cruz has found the real jab enemy, Big Bird. So just notice, too, just another special number by the Occult Secret Society, Skull and Bones, who identifies by a number. Again, just another point that was brought up in the debate with Andrew, where we got to the 322 piece, and he wanted to downplay that. Again, you learn these numbers, you'll see how they're used super repetitively over and over and over. And don't forget, the Johns Hopkins University was founded by Daniel Coit Gilman, a Skull and Bones member. Daniel Coit Gilman's got the 7-6 birthday like George W. Bush, the second Skull and Bones president. Well, actually the third. Taft was the first, and then both Bushes were the second and third. And that's what's known on the public record. It's very possible that Bill Clinton is Skull and Bones. He was also at Yale in addition to Georgetown, and he was the president between the two Bush presidencies. But again, Skull and Bones traces its roots back to the Templars, the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo, all roads leading to Rome and the church. And Andrew was also, see, Andrew's an Orthodox, so Andrew does not want to acknowledge the Catholic Church's dominance over the world. He wants to think that his religion is the king. It clearly isn't. Are we on the Orthodox Church's calendar? Was there ever a moment where Pope Francis, the 266th Pope, or excuse me, Pope Francis is the 266th Pope, and the Jesuit motto is Isus Omnium Salvator. But again, Pope Francis did speak in D.C. September 23rd, 2015, the 266th day of the year. Was there ever a moment where the head of the Orthodox Church came to D.C. and spoke by the numbers, and the whole media was focused on it for the weeks leading up and the week after, and nearly every headline in the media was about that? No, that never happened. The Orthodox Church is something that almost nobody even knows about who's not in the Orthodox Church. So Andrew's just trying to represent totally false opinions based on his own bias. I'm somewhere in here who's neutral. I don't prefer the Catholic Church or the Orthodox Church. I'm looking at the world the way it is, trying to interpret why these things are being done and why this history has been achieved and why things are the way they are. He's someone who's trying to look at the world. See, he was trying to say, I have a worldview. My worldview is simply observing what's going on around me. His worldview is, I'm Orthodox. Well, and I don't even believe that he's Christian. There's nothing Christian about this man, and as he demonstrated in this debate, he seemingly knew absolutely zero about the Bible. Absolutely zero. I was having his, half the thing was just spinning tires in the mud with him questioning facts. Again, anybody can fact check what I said throughout the debate. There's not going to be one falsehood. He's trying to turn in one point that it was, again, he was trying to say that it's not true, that he's like, look, I found this obscure source right here that says there's only 60. And what did I say? I said you could find the 72 at the CDC's website. Exactly where you can. You can also find it in a million other places. But yeah, here's something else I want to point out. Somebody sent this to me this morning. He posted this 2 days ago. Somebody sent it to me this morning. But something else I caught wind of is in this he uploaded this right here 3 hours ago. The guy who he promoted in here.
Grammarly is a must-have for all.
Oh, hold on, let's get past these ads real quick. I remember this guy who he brought up. He's from Portland, like I'm from Portland. The guy he brought up. I'm very familiar with Sam Cedar as well. Oh my God, I skipped to a spot in the debate and I have to watch another ad. Okay, the guy who's debating here, if you're not familiar with this Jubilee, it's a thing they do where it's several people will debate against one person on a given set of topics. So this was Sam Cedar, former actor, former Air America host. He was on Air America until that again, that was the liberal radio network until it went defunct. And he had the Majority Report on there. It was one of the evening shows. And once Air America went defunct, he made it a YouTube broadcast. And I thought it was interesting because in 2020, his Majority Report was so small on YouTube. I was surprised. I thought he'd have more following since he was nationally syndicated. And in 2020, if you were following me, then I didn't even bring up some of the shows he was doing because he was stumping for the scandemic, Sam Cedar. And I was saying, I can't believe that I was on like my 20-something channel by then, but at that point, my channel was bigger than his. I was getting more views. But to me, that amazed me. I was like, wow, he's not getting, but his channel's grown a lot, Sam Cedar. I don't know what caused him to finally take off on YouTube, but he has. But anyway, the guy he's debating against here is this Hispanic dude from Portland. I believe his name's Eleazar Perez. But remember, last year, what he does is he goes up to women in Portland, especially liberal groups, and starts debate with liberals and especially anyone who's pro-choice. But he's having a pro-choice debate with a woman on the streets of Portland who's with her daughter, and the woman does get aggressive, and he kind of like takes her and smashes her to the ground. But as he does that, he smashes her daughter to the ground too. And what was crazy is whenever that was, last spring, maybe it was about a year ago that happened, that clip was viral everywhere, and everyone was celebrating him. Like the Christian right, like that clip probably got tens of millions of views online. Jesse Lee Peterson brought him on over that. You know, Jesse Lee Peterson, a supposed Christian, or there's nothing really Christian about him either. Another Trump guy. He brought him on over that. I was making the point about this last year. I was like, isn't this sick, man? This guy comes out of nowhere. He takes a mother to the ground and knocks her daughter to the ground. And he's this viral sensation online. Now you see, here's Andrew Wilson saying, oh, he did such a great job debating Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar did a really piss poor job in this moment. I wish Eleazar Perez was debating me when he brought up these points. He started talking about how we need religion so there's not incest, so children don't get raped, so fathers don't have sex with their daughters. It's like, is he serious? I mean, incest is most rampant within religious communities. Fathers having sex with their daughters, that's permitted in the Bible. That's part of the story of Genesis 19. Child sexual abuse? I mean, hello, Catholic Church, and he's a Catholic. It's just, Sam Cedar should have just wiped the floor with him based on his remarks, but he really didn't have anything to say. But anyway, everybody's circulating this clip too, and again, celebrating this kid. And I'm like, okay, he really didn't make any good arguments. Sam Cedar just did a bad job responding. And yet again, just like bad rhetoric, totally false. It's like totally Orwellian rhetoric. Sexual abuse is mostly connected to religion. That's an accurate and 1,000,000% verifiable statement. Again, it is the weirdo dogma of religion that causes so many sexual problems. again, because religion is mostly against nature. But yeah, it just you just see the way the internet is. There's an establishment there, right? And a lot of it is political. And again, you get behind the Trumps, you get behind certain religious stuff, dogma, you will be pushed by the machine. And again, this guy, back when even when he was, his clip was going everywhere of taking the mother and child to the ground, which just to me was, I was just blown away that so many people were celebrating that. I was like, listen, if I'm being aggressive with a woman on the streets and she starts to attack me, I'm going to block, but I'm not going to do anything physically to knock her to the ground. I'm just going to block and distance myself and say, hey, stop. But no, literally takes her to the ground and smashes her through her daughter. Like, to me, it was just one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. And then you have all these Christians circulating it like it's awesome. Jesse Lee Peterson bringing him on saying like, oh yeah, that was a great job. That was a great clip. It's just like, look at these people. And by the way, have you ever looked at who's behind Jesse Lee Peterson? Bunch of very light-skinned people with long noses. And what's Jesse Lee Peterson do all day? He says, I'm a dumb black man. I'm slow. It's just like, Anyway, all this stuff does make me sick. All this trash that gets pushed, this Eleazar Perez, because of this clip, everyone and their mother's bringing him on who has a big following. So he's going on all the major podcasts now. He's about to be on Tim Pool and all these type of people. This is how the world stays stupid, man. And this is why the internet is a joke. This guy's resume is now pushing totally false rhetoric that could be easily smoked in a debate. And again, doing a wrestling move on a mother and wiping out her along with the daughter. I mean, God. Oh, man. So anyway, let's bring on Melissa Crocker. By the way, if anybody sees my Truth Matters hat, it's somewhere out there in the world. I have no idea where it went to. That's why I haven't had it on for days. Somehow it got legs and just disappeared from my house. I have no idea where my hat is, so got the backup hat until I find it back. What's up, Melissa? Oh, hold on, Melissa. Hold on. I got to switch the audio settings so you don't echo. Melissa here. You're ready. It's set up for you, Melissa. Go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, through that Andrew shit show, oh, my gosh, that was so crazy. But he was like, oh, King James, like, oh, like, what does that mean? And it was like, oh, my gosh, like, are you kidding me? Like, what? All the hotels back in the day, what version of the Bible were in that little nightstand next to your bed in every freaking hotel?
Right.
When he was saying like, "Oh, that's irrelevant," blah, blah, like, why are you talking about this? I'm like, that was the most propagated, indoctrinated religion because it was everywhere. In the damn hotels, anywhere you looked, it was a King James version. And then when you were talking about like the King James, like, oh, you didn't know that's, what this was related to. And then when I was seeing, who was the host? The host, yeah, the host with no most. She was fucking. Oh, that was awful.
Yeah, she was a joke.
What's her name?
Tomato something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm like, girl, you need to get your thyroid checked. And then she started rubbing her neck. Like, just look at my comment. She started rubbing it. And then somebody was like, no, that's not a woman. It's a man. I was like, well, I don't know, but whatever it is, it needs to get her thyroid checked. But no, like, it was like a setup. I didn't like it. It was, I don't even know how I was on there for, the haul. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Zach's doing this, but he's still doing it. He's still going at it. Like you said, it was only supposed to be a few hours and it turned into fucking 10.
That's the one thing that didn't make any sense to me, because before we even go live, she said, we're going to keep it shorter tonight. And I said, that's great. Because, 6, like last time, was very long. And then she goes way longer. So yeah, there was something, but then I found out that they did make $10,000 off the stream. That might've been also why she kept going on, because I guess they were making more money than normal. And isn't that crazy too, that they made $10,000? It's like, what did they do that was good that night that warranted a single dollar?
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. What are you good for? Absolutely nothing. It's like,
the war song.
How does shit happen? I don't know, bro. But you keep on keeping on, and we back you. We've seen your work, known what you do. Like I said, I'm not into the sports betting. I wish my brain could actually compute like the overs, the unders, all that shit, whatever. But like I said, I donated to you. I did a 50 and a 25, and I was like, hey, I took on a second job. I'm like your mom, the house cleaner. And then I was able to give. That made me feel good about all the shit that you brought to light in my life. And now I'm seeing shit. It's just
well,
like,
please don't ever donate again. I appreciate that, but I don't ask for people to donate that much.
oh,
I just wish people would donate $1 a month. So if you donated a 50 and a 20, that's 70. That's 6 years worth of donations, the way I see it. So thank you.
right. And I don't care. It's like, I've been following you for years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is making sense. It's like, the synapse in your brain start connecting. It was like, oh, you have aha moments. So I don't care giving to somebody that has actually like made sense of shit I couldn't make sense of. So when that happens, that's when you give back. Like, I got some extra money right now. I'm going to do it. So, that's what I've done. And, just hearing, all your people that are on your, your sports page and stuff, like you're changing their lives. And then you have Andrew coming like, oh, but what have you done? Blah, blah. Like, fuck you, Andrew. What the fuck have you done?
Yeah, literally, like, what have you done? Name one way you've helped out maybe your people find you entertaining. I mean, I don't find him entertaining at all. I don't find anything interesting about him. But literally, like, what have you actually done? What's a skill you've given to your people to help them out in the world? You're helping with the indoctrination. You're about the religion. You're about the government. You're about Trump. You're part of the problem.
Exactly. And if people can't, it's what I said how many times in that stream. I was like, Andrew didn't pass kindergarten. It's called connecting the dots. It was like, oh, in kindergarten, I loved connect the dots because I wanted to see the big picture. And I'm like, I just kept saying over and over, I'm like, yeah, he fucking failed kindergarten. He can't even connect dots. Like, come on.
Most
And
most
people
people
are
can't.
following these fuckers. It's like, what the hell?
It's the blind following the blind, right?
Yeah. And it's like I told you, I think it was several of your streams ago. I told you, like, I had a feeling like, oh, run my buddy's friend that was dying of cancer. And I had his numbers and it was 301. I don't know if you remember that. I made a comment.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, because I told him, I said, hey, his number is 301 something, and it was like 107. And I said, I think he's going to die on March 1st. I'm just trying to prepare him. Like, something told me to run his numbers. And then I saw that. I just wanted you to be prepared. And then he died on March 1st.
Yeah, crazy with the 301.
Yeah. So, there was something else. Oh, yesterday on one of your streams, I was like, oh, I was looking on March 10th, the house rates, for refinancing, it was 6.69 on March 10th. And then also the other thing is, okay, so how this whole Trump and Elon, this whole fucking weird shit with the Tesla at, Washington.
Okay.
So, okay. So you got to go back when he's like a Vanna White. Like, he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, look at this. This is a Tesla, blah, blah, blah. Well, he also did that with Abbott Laboratories with their CV,
Yeah.
5 minutes. There's some weird shit. You got to go back into, to that realm. He was like 5-minute testing, and there was some other numbers. I'm like, oh, that it feels like it's connecting. There's something connected with that. So if you just like look up, when Trump did his revealing of the Abbott 5-minute test for COVID, And then fast forward to, his crap. It was like,
Somehow your mic dropped out. I think it's because you're getting a phone call.
it was like, he's like another, he's a Vanna White.
Yeah. Indeed. And they're both puppets on strings. Neither of them are making the calls that people think they're making. They're not running the things that people think they're running. And that's another thing that this work exposes. A lot of people are worshiping puppets. So.
Yeah. But thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Melissa. I appreciate your generosity. And yeah, save that money for a rainy day. Thank you so much.
I will. Bye-bye.
What's up, Gematria32? And then we got GAD in the building. It's the order you guys came in. What's up, Gematria32?
Well, today's the 72nd day of the year, and President Trump equals 72, correct?
Again, we covered this, right? The judge who overruled him today, his name equals 72.
Right. Let's just remind people. It's interesting that it's 52 days after Inauguration Day, and you know how President also equals 52. So does Trump Tower, and there's a big protest in Trump Tower today. And
Perfect.
Manhattan equals 52. And you know the big list with Pope, Epstein, Tree of Life, Kabbalah, Gematria, all equal 52. White House, Authority. So I thought that was I said on your old website you had documented this pattern as well when Trump, he went to the United Nations on the 72 date numerology at age 72. So this is just the old pattern that you documented.
Hey, he was made fun of for bragging about himself so much that day. That's a post on my old site.
Yeah, but I thought it was they still doing the same old patterns with the 72 and 52.
Yeah.
There was another headline that I don't know if people caught that. They said that on Monday, Amy Coney Barrett, the Supreme Court Justice, there was a bomb threat sent to her sister's house. That was 41 days after Amy Coney Barrett's birthday, and bomb threat equals 41. You follow? And then they said it was in the mailbox. Mailbox equals 41, and it's a whole thing, man. Like by the numbers.
Day after day, you can prove it every day if you just have the knowledge. That's why everyone rejecting the knowledge, you're simply rejecting something that's true.
Yeah, but come on. Trump Tower equals 52. President equals 52.
Here's my post from September 25th, 2018, his day at the United Nations, talking about the 72 names of God in Kabbalah, where it fits in with Trump, where it fits in with Exodus from the Bible, which is part of the reason that it's assigned that. Again, just date with 72 numerology. And again, to emphasize names on that headline, names is 52. It was a date with a lesser numerology of 52, like Kabbalah, the Kapal, Tree of Life, Etzat Chaim, that's the Jewish word for Tree of Life, Gematria, Government, Authority, President, White House, the abbreviation NWO, they're all 52. Trump's like Exodus, where the 72 names come from. Then Exodus and Jewish have all this overlap. And even in Hebrew, again, Elohim has that 47 connection like Trump. 42 names of God. All this stuff is Old Testament and Jewish originally. Just how it all fits together. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so just to remind people, 52 days after Inauguration Day, Trump Tower equals 52, Manhattan equals 52, Palestine. It was a pro-Palestine protest. Palestine equals 52. The Pope today is the Pope anniversary. Pope equals 52. I mean, Gematria. I mean, the knowledge is undeniable, but there's just so many patterns. There's so many so much that you have documented that you could point to that just reoccurring. That it's just people's arguments is just childish. It's childish.
Yeah, and so are a lot of you guys in the comments. Like, what's that noise on the mic? How about just what he's actually talking about? That's what you should be thinking about, not the extra noise, which, again, if you're an adult, you should be able to just listen right past and focus on the message. Again, just almost everywhere I look, I just see nothing but idiocy in this world. Just dumb people, no focus. How is your only comment on that? Yeah, he is making extra noise on the mic. I don't know why that is. He's eating something.
No, I'm not. Oh,
Maybe,
the mic is chipping up. That's why the mic is messed up.
but yeah,
It's
at the
not.
same time, it's like if that's the only thing you have to say back, to me it says room temperature IQ.
I apologize, you
All right,
guys.
anyway,
The mic is
appreciate
messed up.
Gematria 32. Later, man. Well, GAD, you're next. Then we got King Rich in the background.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna make it brief. Since you brought that guy back up, Andrew or whatever his name is, from what I remember, I was looking at, with his situation, man, I think that, man, that whole panel was full of nothing but fucking paid informants, or not, maybe not informants, but like just paid shills. And that guy and that clown that was with the MAGA hat, the black dude, forget his name, but I do remember him from somewhere, man. That dude's he was a failed Israelite that ended up just trying to look for any old kind of community that he could find to latch onto. So I was just gonna pretty much call in and just say, just watch yourself with those damn panels and those particular individuals, because from what I'm hearing, some of those people, man, are not authentic, and even in the stupid shit that they're into, just watch out for them, Zach.
Obviously, I mean, I completely agree, but it is just frustrating how controlled everything is. And it's like I said, that little Hispanic kid I just brought up, he's nothing but a little punk and troll himself, and the machine pushes him. And again, just his claim to fame is throwing a woman to the ground and knocking over her child with it. And then you have these
Whoa.
Christians celebrating that. Again, and I have Christians trolling me. Oh, Zach always talks bad about Christian. It's because, again, I just keep looking at your community, and this is the kind of stuff I see. It's like you guys are celebrating a guy knocking a woman and his child to the ground. But you guys are the ones that support babies because you're pro-life. But here's a guy knocking a woman and her child to the ground, and just because she's on the pro-choice stance and he's on the pro-life, that's celebratory to you. It just makes me sick, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And these individuals, and of course, of course, you have to deal with trolls every day. I can only imagine. Well, I mean, I do deal with trolls. Don't get it twisted. In what I'm into and whatnot, but I know that you have to deal with it on a much larger scale because of the amount of people that you have to interact with. So I'm just, but at the end of the day, man, one thing that we all learned is that the truth is not for everybody, and the vast majority of people are going to talk shit about the truth, and it's just like, hey, it is what it is.
I hate how in this world everyone's been programmed to associate things that are true with mental illness. That is a really annoying thing to me.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's just like, decades ago they'd give people like me lobotomies, and people say, yeah, destroy that person's brain because they got problems questioning this authority. That is the flaw of humanity, how easily they succumb to something that's in a costume and calls itself authority. It's a rampant problem. So
It is. It's a big epidemic, but the majority of people are just fucking retarded, man. It's just what it is. But yeah, Zach, man, salute to you, and salute to the sincere people that come on your panel, and salute to the chat, man. Just take it easy.
Appreciate it. Thanks, JD. You have a good one, man.
Yeah.
Well, what's up, King Rich?
Hey, what's up, man? I just wanted to go out here and man, I wanted to put something on your radar, man. This supposed guy, he started this website called Pirate Bay. I'm pretty sure you remember Pirate Bay, right? Pirate Bay, you can pirate stuff on there. He ended up dying in a plane crash, and when you write out Pirate Bay, it literally equals plane crash. And they say he died in Slovenia, which equals 97, 25th crime. Here we are in 2025. I did some more research on when he was born too. He was born April 13th, the 103rd day of the year, and he died on Monday, March 10th, date written 10/3. And I got some more notes here. Let me pull that up. Oh yeah, he died in Slovenia, which equals 97. He died 34 days before his birthday. His birthday is obviously April 13th. So from March 10th to April 13th, it'll be 34 days later. So yeah, I just figured I'd bring that point up. And that was also Osama bin Laden's birthday. That was his 68th birthday. The Pirate Bay, how it's reported as, it equals
Well, just
68.
say no more right there. Just say no more. Again, planes, bin Laden, false flag, a terminology that comes from pirates.
Pan Am 103.
What was the last 103?
No, I'm saying that when you think about terrorism.
Yeah, Pan Am 103, right? Yeah.
Yep. So, oh, and that protest at Trump Tower, that guy was referring to, the last caller, that guy got arrested on March 8th, 3/8. Of course, Palestine equals 38. So, oh, and that was 38 weeks after Trump's birthday as well. So on 3/8, 38 weeks after Trump's birthday, the Palestinian man gets arrested, and now they're having a protest for him today.
Okay.
On the 72nd day of the year, of all days. So.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep, perfect. And that's why I don't get why there's a lot of retards out here, saying that this work is not legit, because it pretty much is. Come on, man.
Not pretty much is. It's 1,000,000% is. And what
saying.
you know about
Yeah.
every single one of those people
Exactly.
is they've never, ever researched it themselves and tried to apply it for just one day. I'm making a big claim that you can use this knowledge every single day to see through the federal government's rituals. Somebody might look at that and be like, that's got to be bullshit. All right, prove it wrong. Prove it wrong. You're not going to.
Exactly. You can't prove it wrong. You can't. So that's what I'm saying. Like, again, it's just a mockery, man. These people mock
Somebody in
us
the
every
chat
day.
saying, do I know what the 94 crime bill is? Yeah, it was Joe Biden's bill.
Yeah,
I
Joe
talked
Biden's
about
bill.
it extensively multiple times in the time of Joe Biden's administration. Go ahead, King Richard.
No, that's all I had to add. But yeah, people are just retarded, man. People are fucking retarded, man. That's why I don't even fucking waste my time with retards, man. I don't.
Here's what I got to say about humanity. I had it right when I was a child. I knew people were dumb. I knew people were dumb when I was a child, because I started to realize I was the smartest guy in the room when I was in a room full of adults. I started to realize people weren't that smart. And
Right.
I had a real cynical attitude when I was a child. People would ask me what I'm going to do when I grow up. I said, I'm going to be an assassin. I'd make people's jaw hit the floor. And you know what?
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't joking. I wish I would have stayed with that. I wish I was an expert assassin. I think that's what humanity needs a lot of. Like I would say, I'd throw a bunch of it on the wood chipper. Again, I think it's all deserved. Humanity is so dumb, so pathetic, so inept. They're dragging us all to hell. 90% of the populace. Again, imagine we had again, just like these video games. What is it? Assassin's Creed, taking out all the bad guys.
Hey, the
We
Assassin's
need a network of people like myself that know how to kill, as much as we know how to decode. Imagine just smoking them all. The whole cabal's paste.
That's funny you mentioned Assassin's Creed, because they also have the Jesuits in that game. So, yeah, they just put it right in your face. Assassin's Creed.
Oh, by the way, the top comment on Andrew's thing from his debate is this comment right here. This dude watched the Da Vinci Code and decided to make his whole personality. This is his comment that somebody left to Andrew's thing, right? And again, the reason that movie came out, or the book came out shortly after 9/11. The publishing book date of that book is March 18th, which is the 87th day of the year, like the Catholic Church equals 87, like Ignatius Loyola equals 87, who's the founder of the Jesuits. Look at how many days it was from, hold on, let me get it back up here. Look how many days it was from September 11th, this major Illuminati ritual, until that book came out about the Illuminati. Look at this, March 18th, 2003. Check this out. It came out exactly 79 weeks later. And where's 79 connect? Remember, Society of Jesus is 79. What's Knights Templar? Knights Templar is 79. Christianity, absolutely 79. We have a Skull and Bones member in the White House while this comes out, talking about the new crusades in the Middle East. Again, Skull and Bones gets their symbolism from the Templars, which are related to the Jesuits. And remember how Society of Jesus is also 56. How old was Dan Brown when the 56 pandemic was going on?
I was just about to say that,
56 in 2020.
Coronavirus.
He turned 56 with all that stuff going on that year.
Yep. Coronavirus equals 56. You had the Jesuit Gavin Newsom talking about 56% of people are going to get coronavirus.
Every single one of them. 56 years after
56
Trump's Jesuit
days.
education, all of them. All of them.
Yep. Andrew Cuomo.
And these retards are out here like, oh, this dude watched too much Da Vinci Code. Well, that's not actually where any of my thoughts came from, but that fits right in with exactly what is going on in the world. And had you applied the knowledge, it would have dawned on you instantly.
Yeah, fucking again. Only a retard's denying what we're talking about. Only a retard's denying it. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that walk around.
Like I said, man, that might be what the real way going forward. With not only the knowledge, but we do need to make ourselves assassins and take out all these sorry ass mother effers, the Samps. The Samps of the world got to go. And understand, for everyone who thinks that's bad, that's why you were given that fake religion with all those fake values, including the big one, thou shalt not kill. I'd say that is one of the biggest problems in the world, is that there's so many scumbags walking the earth who a lot of people would like to kill, but they're being kept from doing that from their religious dogmatic beliefs and also the threat of authority and being thrown in authority. But again, imagine how many scumbags came across your own life. Probably everyone listening knows there's like horrible people that have come in their life and they did them wrong. And you know the world would be better off if that person was in the dirt. And you might have put them in the dirt yourself if you weren't going to end up in a cage. Again, just like my neighbor. I literally helped out my neighbor and he comes back and robs my house. And then he gets me in legal trouble. Again, thou shalt kill.
That dude deserves lead, man. There's a lot of people out here that walk around that deserve lead, man. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all I had to say, Zach. Hey, appreciate it, man. Keep up the good work.
Take care, Rich. Take care, man.
Yeah, you too.
All right, we had Chris hop on, and then Melissa came back on. Chris, you were in the room next. What's up, Chris? Chris, you got to unmute yourself. Your mic is muted.
What about now, sir? Can you hear me?
Now you're loud and clear.
Hey, long-time listener. Appreciate the work that you do. I listen. I don't know how many debates you had with Andrew, but I listened to the one you did about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago.
Just one.
Okay. Well, I couldn't listen to all 5, 6, 7 hours of it, but I listened to about 2 hours of it. And man, I was screaming at the screen the whole time. There was a time where Andrew tried to pin you into a corner with, I believe it was 72 and 27. He was trying to get you to answer, why do you start with these numbers, or why do you start at this place? In other words, like if it's 72 days from so-and-so birthday, why don't you use 72 days from a dog's, from your best friend's birthday? Or why don't you? And you were being very humble. You was just trying to keep me calm. And I was just screaming at the screen. I was like, but Zach is not picking the numbers. And I couldn't be on the panel with you, but if I could, I'd have just screamed, bruh, the elite are picking the numbers. He tried to make it seem like you're picking the numbers. And why do you start with the numbers you start with? In other words, what is your point of origin? But the answer to that question was, Andrew, Zach is not picking the numbers. The powers that be are picking the number. We're just trying to follow this crap.
Right.
We're just trying. You see what I'm saying? We're just tagging.
I said in the beginning, I said, listen, he's a Christian. It says in Revelation 13:18, if you have wisdom, you will know how to calculate the number. And this is a tribute to isopsophy, which is the Greek word for coding numbers into words. And see, that's the thing, too, because right away he just tried to derail the whole thing. I wanted to go through a bunch of 666 stuff with the government just in recent years. And, I thought even just starting with the scandemic would be enough of a point. But then he just started to lie. He's like, oh, I found other scandemic simulations. It's like, yeah, but these two are sister simulations. They were done the exact same style with the same group of people, the same narration style, the same actors playing the same thing. He didn't realize that. There's only 2 of those in the world. And again, it's just, it was obvious that I'm not talking about, I'm not doing this for my own personal thing. I'm talking about what our rulers, the people who rule over us, are doing, which anybody with the brain would understand that that's the point I'm making. At no point was I ever arguing that we should use this for our own self-benefit or this is how I'm living my life. At no point was that ever the argument. Yeah, he just kept making dumb points that I thought he knew had to be beside the point. And I thought anyone listening must understand that he's coming up with these false strawman arguments.
That's right. Well, kudos to you, brother, for keeping your calm. I mean, at one point, I just knew you was about to just say, hey, man, you're interrupting, you're deflecting, you know. But you stayed calm through the entire time that I listened. I don't know if later on you just exploded on them or whatever, but during the 2 or 3 hours that I listened, you kept you calm, and I think that says a lot. So I'm gonna get off of here, man. I appreciate you for taking my call, brother. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Chris. You have a good day.
All right, you too,
Take
brother.
All right, and Melissa, hop back on here, and then I need to wrap it up. One more thought, I imagine, Melissa?
Yeah. Okay. So it was, I don't like to say black, dark skinned man that has the MAGA hat. His name, I don't remember names that are not like important to me. You know what I'm saying? What's his name?
His actual name is Kevin, but he goes by Chaotic Truth.
Okay, Chaotic Truth. It just hit me like when that was going on, I was thinking of like that movie Jones Plantation. It's
Yeah.
like how he has over and over like calling his own people dumb niggers, saying shit,
But he's
and
real life Clayton Bigsby.
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like we're Jones Plantation. If you haven't seen that movie yet, watch it. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is what's happening. And you're indoctrinating your own people that you were supposed to be like, hey, we were slaves at one day, set you free, get you out of the shit. And he's actually pulling them in like, oh, Zach, like, oh, you're trying to, like
He's being
bring.
paid to do what he does. He's being paid to do that, and his whole panel that comes on there each day, they're all part of some network. I mean, it's just way too well funded what he does.
But again, okay, so when you heard, okay, it was MAGA, and then when Elon came in, it was what? Dark MAGA. So
Right.
like what are they doing? They're getting like, going back into the day to get, like people of their own race against their own race. So like dark MAGA. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Dark MAGA. Then when I saw him come in, he's like, Jack, I told you not to come on. I gave you a warning. It's like, no, bitch.
Did you see when
You
he
know?
came? Did you see when he came on my stream the next day or two? And I said, okay, because I did doing a live stream and he hopped on. It's when I asked him if it's true that he got caught smoking crack years ago on a YouTube stream, which he didn't downplay. Somebody had the video clip of that. But I said, okay, you came on and acted like Andrew was winning the debate, so how do you win? And he's like, well, he didn't really do anything, but, I got to go on and promote. He had a lot of people watching. So I was like, okay, so you just came on there to hop on his side to get some things. He's like, I'm a capitalist. So like,
Yeah, he's a dark MAGA. He's a dark MAGA. Like, you're doing a ritual on your own people, especially when I heard him, in that one stream, you and him going back and forth. And it was like, oh my gosh, like racist. Like, holy shit. Like, dude, like you're calling your own people dumb. And, like you're no different than that so-called white man that, like put all these, these black peoples in the shackles and chains and whipped them. And it's like, nobody's seen this shit. Like his followers, especially of the dark skin, are not seeing this shit. That's what pisses me off. It's like seeing a race go against their own race and calling them dumb. Like he said it. I can say it, right? He's like, oh, these dumb niggers, they follow you and you're trying to like do something to them. And I'm like, as your audience, people that have followed your work are getting out of debt, making money, and he's calling them dumb. Like, oh, come on. I just don't get it. It really
and
baffles
just
me.
to see if we can fight the algorithm, I have trolls that flag all my videos. Just we're not endorsing the N word with the hard
No,
ER.
no, we're not.
We're talking about how somebody else who's a troll, because yes, you got to be careful. I mean,
I know. I'm sorry. But
again, that Cuts
he
guy,
was
crazy.
saying,
He has
he
a
was
video
saying
up
it
that's over an
blatantly.
hour long. Cuts has a video up over an hour long calling Jay with Open Eyes from our community the N word with the hard ER ending just over and over. He probably uses the word 500 times in an hour. That video is still up on YouTube.
Exactly.
Jay like a 30-second clip of him doing that, and Jay got suspended for a week. So that's also what we're up against on YouTube.
Yeah, that's a tall tell sign.
Of how YouTube
That's a tall
And I'll
tell
remind everyone,
sign.
Cuts, who's a troll of this community, when he met me down in the Bay Area, he did meet me at the YouTube headquarters. Almost seems like he's some kind of a paid for troll by that agency. So anyway,
I know. So that was my last thought. It was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, dark MAGA. Oh, dark skin MAGA. He wears his MAGA hat. And you had Elon come out like saying dark MAGA. And it was like, whoa, I get it now. It's all connecting. I see it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again.
All right, Melissa. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, if you didn't watch the Andrew debate, it's really not that great to watch. What else is funny is YouTube demonetized. I can't make anything off the debate. But you go to Andrew's clip of it. It's monetized. The Tomato Girl, she still has it up on her channel. It has a bazillion commercials on it. It's monetized. It's like, YouTube lets them monetize the debate, but I can't monetize the debate. Again, that's how you can just see how this whole platform is just totally co-opted and biased and trying to destroy certain people's views and ability to earn anything. Again, demonetized my version of the debate on her channel, totally monetized. I've never seen more ads. It plays like an ad every 2 minutes. So yeah, this whole platform, YouTube, is a joke. But and again, just how bad the views. Yeah, March, you guys. My March views are just way down. And anyway, thanks to everyone who is finding a way to watch the videos despite the algorithm and everything else. All right, we'll leave it there for now. And until next time, Truth Seeker.